Guys, it is officially 12:02, which means the NFL free agency unofficially is open.
Who we sign?
Some of that. No signings yet. Let me do a quick read and then tell you the update as of the latest in the NFL. But first, March Madness is here, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before. Right now, brand new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when their first $5 bet wins. That is $200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories, and even who's cutting down the nets. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. So Twitter's down, which is great. It's a great way to start the start of NFL free agency.
Let's go, Muskie. Get it together, will you?
Wait, is it down because of free agency?
It went down this morning. They fixed it, and now it hasn't been able to refresh in over an hour. So we're going to see if any of these signings come through. There
are other ways we can get our news, though.
Right.
Well, yeah, we're going to find out, but I'm just saying, as of this moment, we'll get ESPN notifications. I have tweet notifications on for all the major news breakers, and at the moment, that is not working. So we will do our best to update you guys minute to minute with the latest deals. But let's start with this here, G. Regardless of the money that the Browns are working with here in this free agency period, what position do you think is priority one for Andrew Berry to address in this free agency period?
Oh, man.
I don't even like the question.
I mean, that's...
Well, it's just so hard.
We've
got deficiencies everywhere.
But most of the deficiencies, I would rather fill them through the draft. Is that or was the premise of the question?
Well, free agency periods before the draft, so they do have to make some sort of moves before you know what you're going to draft. So,
I mean, I guess I would probably. Man, it sucks. Because I don't think there's that many great free agents. I think you might find a receiver on the margins, but somebody like Robert Woods or there's a few guys out there, but I don't think you're not going to find. Anything in terms of a running back that I would use any free agency dollars on, because it's a great running back class. You might find some depth maybe at center, sign a center, or maybe take a look at maybe a left tackle if you're not going to use a pick for a left tackle to back up DeJuan Jones. But for me, maybe a safety, and I will say this. I'll go do this one. Give me a linebacker. Give me a linebacker. If you find me a veteran linebacker that I can plug and play, I don't really want to spend any draft capital on a linebacker that's hit or miss, because I just frankly feel JOK is not coming back.
Is that your gut right now?
That's my gut, given what everybody's saying.
Wow. What a loss it's going to be.
It's just like, I think that hits hard, because that's one of the picks they finally hit on.
I looked at this question this way. There's a huge board the size of this table, and it's cut in half, and you've got 11 positions on one side and 11 positions on the other, and it represents your starters, your 22 starters. And there's holes, there's 11 holes, but all of the players are down in the holes, and it's going to be whack-a-mole. And the areas in which you have to improve are going to pop up all at once. But you have $13 million, so that only buys you one hammer. Right. And so quarterback pops up, running back pops up, offensive line pops up, wide receiver pops up, linebacker pops up, defensive line pops up, safety pops up, and you got one hammer. And you're playing whack-a-mole, and you're like, well, how the hell am I supposed to get all those moles back into their holes? I got one hammer. That's the way I feel right now. Through free agency, it's hopeless. That's why I keep coming back to this. Andrew Berry, you got one more shot at this draft thing. So far,
you got hit.
You have been way below average.
You got hit that.
Way below average. You don't have to just be average in this draft. You have to be Los Angeles Rams finding Puka Nacua in the 6th round great.
Yeah, you got to kill.
And you got to find them all over the field, because you've got some capital. You've got picks.
Before anyone else
goes,
but
you can't miss on any of them.
Before you answer, Rapport just tweeted Hassan Reddick signed a 1-year deal with the Buccaneers, $14 million. There you go. First deal of free agency.
Okay. You have a priority in free agency?
I'm just looking at the list right now. I mean, but by the way, do you think there's a chance the Browns have interest in any of these top 30 potential free agents? I mean, interest, of course, but like realistic interest where they could target one of these guys.
Top 30? I mean, are there even 30 good free agents?
I think Dustin did a question. I think they're being realistic, and they know that it's like you go to the store for school shopping, and you don't just need a new pair of shoes. You need pants, you need shirts, you need shoes, you need a backpack, you need all your school supplies, but you only got $5. Like, what are you going to do?
To me, there's no priority in free agency. Free agency, that question's a trick question because there's no answer to that.
Right.
There's nothing, again, I don't mean to be negative Nancy, but the Browns can only get themselves out of this hole in the draft.
That's it.
Spending money in free agency is pointless. What do they get? A veteran linebacker, a fourth-string wide receiver.
Yeah.
All right, okay. What are they going to do with these things?
Yeah.
The Browns have to kill it in the draft, and they have to kill it not just this year, but next year. That's how they're going to get this train back on the tracks. That's it. I don't have any priorities.
To that point, free agency is for this. It's for Tampa Bay. They made the first move.
Right.
It's for teams
That
that are a couple of players away, maybe one player away.
Next steps.
It's for, you're going to laugh when I say this, it's for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Usually
they were a playoff team last year, but they can't get out of the first round. So how do they get to the first round? Well, free agency could help them go over the hump.
You go get that premier wide receiver. And
I don't think there is. Who's the best wide receiver in free agency?
Well,
Godwin?
DK Metcalf.
It's Chris Godwin.
To me, yeah, it is. But I think that the DK Metcalf move, although that was a trade, you also kind of have to look at that as a signing because
Chris Godwin off the board, back to the Bucs.
Sign and trade. That was expected, by the way. I don't think anybody ever thought that he was going to go anywhere else. He's coming off a pretty severe injury too.
In terms of these receivers, I don't.
There's not the golden.
So who's the next best guy?
Yeah, there's no golden ticket out there. But Bull, I think what I'm saying is
Keenan Allen still out
Amari
there?
Cooper is the next best.
I think what I'm saying is,
according to
if you're
CBS
Green
Sports,
Bay,
that's the 41st
if you're
best free
Tampa
agent.
Bay, if you're maybe even Minnesota, if you're Pittsburgh, you're already a solid team. You're like the Cavs were going into last year. You just need a few little tweaks, a few small pieces. I don't mean that. You just need a big player in one of your few holes.
Right.
And the Browns aren't that team.
But I think this free agency class in particular, there's not a lot of big players.
Yeah, it's underwhelming.
It's nondescript.
It's guys who are just, there's a bunch of solid NFL players, good players.
Yeah.
But there's no, there's
how
nobody
much
getting
how
a
much you
monster
know about
contract.
how much you know about Javon Holland?
Not
I don't know
enough.
that much about
Okay, he's a
Javon.
safety from the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Who, according to CBS Sports, is the 9th best free agent available.
Right. Who do they have as the best free agent available?
Sam Darnold.
Oh, okay.
Then number 3.
Well, but to your point earlier,
2 is T. Higgins. He's
he's not a free agent.
Josh
Yeah.
Sweat.
The reason
number
you
3.
can't rely on free agency to completely restock is because you said this earlier. Smart teams always sign their great players. They don't let them get to free agency.
It very rarely happens.
So
The
it's
best of the best.
extremely rare
Yeah.
that a Tom Brady in his prime hits the market, or that a Patrick Mahomes in his prime hits the market.
The one thing I would say that what the Browns could do right now, and it won't cost you a ton of money, is find some guys who won and know how to win, and bring some veterans in here. In terms of depth or whatever, a linebacker.
changers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what Washington did with with some of the guys that they brought in. Yeah, they were a young team.
Jarvis Landry, Jarvis
Ertz.
Landry was that guy.
Yeah.
When they brought him in, he was a guy that had some success.
We all love that great video on whatever the
Bless
Hard
him.
Knocks.
Bless
Yeah,
him.
right.
Yeah.
He changed the culture. They need culture changers.
They do.
I don't know. I don't know that they're in here. I'm not sure.
But those guys don't always.
Thornhill had been on a winner, and he didn't. So
Yeah,
Man,
I don't know.
he was a younger player.
Get me. I would love if the Browns today just got a quarterback. Give me a veteran QB.
Of them, who do you want? Darnold isn't going to happen.
Darnold, you look at it. Kirk Cousins, he might get released. They might be waiting on that. Who knows?
Joseph Flacco.
Russell Wilson, no. Aaron Rodgers not coming here. Justin Fields is in the mix. Sam Darnold's not coming. There's Jameis Winston, Gardner Minshew, Jacoby Brissett, Marcus Mariota, Jimmy Garoppolo, Carson Wentz, Trey Lance. Now, we done already had Jacoby. We done already had Jameis. Joe Flacco's out. We already had him.
Why is Joe out? You think that's not an option for the Browns anymore?
No.
Or you mean out, available?
We're available. Joe Flacco and Jameis, they've already been here. So, they could reunite with one of those guys. But I think it would be great to just get it out the way and be like, this is our guy. This is our plans.
I think Kirk Cousins is playing here next year. I really do.
Maybe that's what they're waiting on.
I think Atlanta, they're trying to trade him because it would be beneficial to them if they could. But every other team knows that they're not, he's going to be available. They're not going into next season with that contract as a backup quarterback.
Are you determining which of these guys you want based on the best chance to win? Because I don't think you could. The Browns.
No.
The Browns are almost definitely not going to the playoffs, no matter who of those.
Yeah, these guys don't move the needle that much. I think they're all about the same.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I'm basing on who they're going to win. But I look at it like this: if I could get Flacco for a couple $1 million, and I could just have that ready to go, now I could just transition to what I'm doing.
I think it's either going to be Flacco or Kirk Cousins.
Let's just say, thankfully, we did not listen to J and G Bush and pay Jameis Winston $25 million a year.
Oh, well,
you guys were off your rockers.
No, I never
off
said
your
that.
rockers.
Remember, I shocked you guys when I said, "Yeah, I'm bringing him back."
You show him
at $3 million a year. That's what I said. Because you guys were like, "What?"
One of these fools said to extend him after the Ravens.
That's right.
No,
one of these guys did. I know it.
I remember this. Mike thought he was going to set me up to a topic, and he came to me with the question. He said it was after Jameis had the tank game, and he said, "Okay, Jay, you wanted to bring him back. Are you still bringing him back?" And everybody thought I was going to say no, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm bringing him back. Absolutely."
$3 million a year.
And everybody was like, "What?" And I said, "And I'm paying him $3 million a year."
None of these guys are making any money besides Darnold.
I might bring him back. If I can't get anybody else,
there's no chance he's coming back.
Stefanski doesn't like him, dude. You can tell.
Doesn't like him.
Yeah, I don't think there's any chance he comes back. I do think there's a realistic chance Joe Flacco comes back.
Yes.
Listen, you want the quarterback to be a mentor. They're going to draft a quarterback. We don't know what round.
Right.
We know they're going to draft a quarterback.
I'm
good with Flacco. I'm good with Jimmy G.
Yeah,
I would be good with Jimmy G. Give me Jimmy G.
I'm good with Jacoby Brissett coming back. I'm good with him too.
I don't know if I want to go back that far, but
he's a good teammate.
He was a great teammate.
He's
They
been on
loved him.
winners.
They loved him.
Nobody's talking about Justin Fields. I thought that was a hot name. Younger.
Well, has Pittsburgh decided what they're going to do?
Well, they're talking about Darnold, right? A little bit. I saw.
Let's get right to that.
I heard him talking about Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
Mike, what you got, buddy?
I can't
hit the
that.
like button, hit the subscribe button. We're going to continue our NFL talk right here on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. The Steelers, and Dustin just mentioned them, they traded for DK Metcalf yesterday. They gave him a second-round pick, signed him to a 5-year, $150 million contract. It's $30 million on an average annual value. They have been rumored to at least be showing interest in Sam Darnold, in Aaron Rodgers. It is past the start of the unofficial free agency window, and they have not re-signed Russell Wilson or Justin Fields. All those guys are in play. But no matter how you want to break it down, Dustin, adding DK Metcalf to this division just turns the AFC North into an even bigger arms race than it was yesterday afternoon.
Well, yeah, I mean, now Pittsburgh has two receivers that are like damn near unguardable with 5'10" corners. You know what I mean?
No quarterback though.
Right, you got to have someone to throw in the ball.
Not yet.
But they're going to get a quarterback.
They're going to get a guy.
They're going to have something better. They don't go and trade for Metcalf without having a plan to have someone to get him the ball.
Well, what I thought of right away is, Russell Wilson knows DK Metcalf very well.
But what quarterback? They're in the same boat as the Browns. There's no quarterback that can make them win in the playoffs. Who?
Well, you don't think with Russell Wilson and having DK Metcalf to throw to that they're? I mean, they made the playoffs last year with Russell Wilson.
Yeah, but they'll lose in the first round like they always do.
And they would.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, listen, Metcalf's a hell of a player. They were, and their defense is going to be good.
And there's something to be said for quarterback wide receiver chemistry.
True.
What pick do they have?
21st.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They're going to sign Aaron Rodgers and draft Jackson Dart.
I'll be very surprised if they sign Aaron Rodgers. You think Mike Tomlin's going to put up with
there was a lot of
nonsense?
smoke on that this morning.
Listen, for one
If
year,
one organization could put up with the bull
for 1 year,
and hide it and keep it under the radar,
if they had Antonio Brown, it can't be that much worse. And for 1 year, you're like, look, you got DK Metcalf, you made an investment in that, you got Warren, he's a nice running back, offensive line is decent, you know they got a good defense. For 1 year, and then you go draft Jackson Dart, I'll move with
Mark it down, as always. Listen, I'm not going to say the Steelers are going to finish under 500.
Don't go there again.
But they're going to do what they do every year. Doesn't matter who their quarterback is because none of them are good enough. They're going to win a bunch of games and they're going to lose in the first round as they do every year because you don't get past the first round of the playoffs with subpar quarterback play. It's that simple.
Well,
you just don't.
They got it. They look. I don't know. It looks like would they have made this move if they wouldn't have had some of that quarterback? I don't think if they
could they be getting ready to trade Pickens because they're sick of his act.
Possible, but why? I don't know why you would now, man. Pickens' production's going to go up, like you said. Pick your poison. Who are you going to guard?
They got a nice offense.
I know this much. I mean, like if Rodgers went there, I know he's a crazy I mean, he's a different guy.
Yeah.
I mean, much different than me or a lot of us. I mean, he just thinks differently. However, he still has talent, and he's going to be 2 years removed from that Achilles, which is, and you've had Achilles.
Yeah.
You get a lot better that second year. He is 40. I know. His numbers weren't terrible yesterday.
Crazy. It wasn't like his numbers. If you look at them, I know that they could be deceiving, but they wasn't like bad numbers.
Yeah, but he wasn't helping them win.
The Jets were such a weird team last year. They had more talent than, like, when you finish at the bottom of the league, you're usually talentless. And they're not talentless. They've got pieces. I know they had an in-season coaching change. I know their owner is as crazy as ours. And so that you always got that X factor. When I was on vacation, I ran into a guy with a Cowboys shirt. I said, "Did you like the coaching change?" And he said, "Won't matter. That doesn't make it one bit of difference." Yeah. I said, "Why not?" And he goes, "As long as Jerry is our owner, we're never winning." And I said, "I've met my cousin.
Yeah, right.
I've met my football cousin because I'm a fan of the Browns." And he laughed. And he goes, "The only difference between Jimmy Haslam and Jerry Johnson is that our guy backed into success early, and has screwed things up since, and your guy never had any success and is constantly screwing things up."
Well, they've been better, obviously. They've been at least in the playoffs consistently.
Well, compared to the Browns, they've been better, but ultimately you're judged on playoff wins, and they have a couple of playoff wins over the last 20 years, and the Browns have one.
So I'm not gonna lie. The thing I don't want to see is on the bottom line, Nick Chubb signs with Pittsburgh.
No, I'm telling you,
I do. Listen,
I've said all along that's the one thing that would drive this fan base into a frenzy.
Because then I would.
Part two of that though is he has to, like, if he goes there and averages 2.9 yards a carry and is a non-factor, then everybody will say, "Well, told you he was washed up. You can have him, Pittsburgh. He's our discard." But if he goes there and he runs for 1,500 yards and is old Nick Chubb again,
well, there's an in-between, Jay, which is the most likely thing.
If he goes there,
I don't think he's running for 1,500 yards.
He goes there and gives you 900 yards.
That's a success.
As a 1B guy.
And 13 touchdowns, and he's a strong goal line guy, short yard. I'm still going to hate it.
I don't care if he rushes for 300 yards, but has 9 touchdowns. I'm going to be like,
I'm going to be mad.
No, because he's going to be productive. He's really good around the goal line, no matter what. I don't care.
And we'd have to see him twice a year.
And
how motivated do you think he'd be for those two?
And you better believe that guy's going to get up for the Cleveland Browns if he's playing against the Browns in the same division.
Like, it makes me, bro, Andrew Berry, I don't know, you need to borrow some money? Go to that cash day, pay advance, and get a couple million out, and get us, man, so these coins. That's what I meant to say. No, I changed my mind. Running back. We need to sign Nick Chubb. That's what we need to be doing.
If I'm the Browns in terms of veteran quarterback, I'm thinking about the Browns probably have some idea at this point who they're, let's say they are going to try to get Cam Ward. I'm just throwing that as an example. Maybe they have to trade up to one to do it, whatever. Well, then you'd want to get a veteran quarterback that maybe has a style similar to Cam Ward. You don't want to sign Justin Fields or some other quarterback that plays the game differently, right? Because in a perfect world, even if the Browns get Cam Ward, he's not playing week 1. I know you draft a guy first or second, he probably plays week 1, but, you don't want to be forced into a situation where you have
Right. I was thinking about that, too. Like, what they do in free agency, does that tell you whether or not they're going to start a quarterback week 1 as a rookie?
I don't think so.
No, because you never know. Even if they signed Flacco today and they drafted Cam Ward, if Cam Ward balls out in training camp, he's going to play.
That's right.
He's going to play.
Man.
That's right.
There's always a plan.
At least if you have that
There's always a plan until the guys get on the grass and you find out if these guys can ball or not.
That's right.
Isn't that funny? You played in the league. How do people react when there's a rookie that comes along and, okay, he was supposed to be a big round guy, whatever the case may be, and then he gets out there and he's damn good. Do people really recognize that one, like day one? Oh, this kid's gonna play.
Oh yeah, and it's us. The guys in the locker room are the ones that start talking about it. Hey man, you see
this dude can play.
We need about 6 of those this year.
I mean, Russell Wilson. You said. I mean, Russell Wilson was a third round pick. You don't think those cats in Seattle were like Russell Wilson?
He's nice. Man.
And Ben when he came into Pittsburgh out of Miami of Ohio,
because wasn't it like, golly man, this takes me back. Wasn't it like Tavares Jackson, R.I.P.
Yes.
Wasn't he the guy in Seattle? It's supposed to be. They gave him big money or something, or a new extension,
Yeah.
and then Russell Wilson was a baller in camp, And next thing
It
you know,
was done.
Matt
was it.
Flynn, right? What's that his name?
Matt Flynn
was there for 2
the
seconds, yeah.
Packers.
yeah, he had
Some
one, he had
other
2 good
football
games.
news that happened over the weekend. Then we will update you on all the free agency signings as they continue to come in. Josh Allen signed a record-breaking extension at the quarterback position for the Buffalo Bills. Devontae Adams is headed to the Los Angeles Rams, 2 years, $46 million. And Geno Smith got traded from Seattle to the Las Vegas Raiders, teaming up with Pete Carroll. Bull, what'd you make of those 3 moves?
The Adams thing was really surprising because they've been talking about moving on from Cooper Kupp, and I get it. Kupp's missed a lot of games in recent years, but like he's your guy. Adams is another old receiver. I get it. Adams at this point is better than Kupp because he's been able to stay on the field, but that just seemed like an odd move. Why wouldn't you stick with the wide receiver you know?
I think, well, they have the information on Cooper Kupp.
Yeah,
and
I
and I
guess.
think your first point about him is exactly
the
why.
injuries that they're just worried
we
about.
need a guy that is available.
Reliable.
Yeah, and
That's
and,
a lot of money for an older wide
well,
receiver, though.
To that point,
Yeah.
what he's going to get per year, the Browns have half of that amount.
Right.
He's going to get $26 million a year. We've got $13 million. What are we going to do in free agency when we have one whack-a-mole hammer, and it's not a great hammer?
No,
I mean,
it's a stubby one.
It all comes back to the draft, man. These scouts better be finding some gems.
The Josh Allen contract, smart move by the Bills. Why wait? Because the numbers are going up and up.
Sure. At the time, they always seem eye-popping.
Yeah.
But, like, Mahomes' deal was eye-popping.
Yeah.
Mahomes' deal now is just...
We've seen one after the next,
One after the next.
with the top quarterbacks.
You know, stunning, though, I think you made this point in the chat last night. You talk about all the money that Allen has received now.
Yeah.
All the money that these last big 3 quarterback deals, good quarterback, great quarterbacks, Joe Burrow, but none of them have won a ring.
Right.
They're all, they're speculating that they're going to get you to a ring, but the guy that's won the rings is Mahomes, and his deal now in the quarterback pecking order deal is down here.
Yeah, because those guys don't always guarantee you to get a ring, but they guarantee you a chance to compete for one.
That's the big
And if you don't have one of those guys to compete for one,
Although Joe
why are
Burrow
you playing?
last year, like it was weird last year. I thought that the Bengals dug themselves such a big hole early. They were playing at a level late last year, even though their defense was a mess. I thought that if the Bengals somehow sneak in, they would be the team that I would least want to play because of Joe Burrow.
When you get one of them dudes, you get a floor where it's like
that's right.
Every year it's going to be 9-10. Like and if we get some good health and ball bounces, we 13, 14.
I tweeted last night the Bills paid Allen $250 guaranteed, right?
Yeah.
And I said, well, they could pay him $500 million guaranteed and to be worth every penny. And someone goes, except against Kansas City. I'm like, okay, sure. He may lose to Kansas City 5 more times in a row.
But he's playing Kansas City.
But he's playing Kansas City, and if he plays them the 6th time and gets the win, they'll be like, we'd
you know what?
have paid the guy $1 billion.
Justin, you can't beat him if you're not playing him in the AFC Championship game.
And by the way, there's been a couple of those games where the loss had zero to do with
100%.
him. So that's unfair. But
Well, I mean, he scored with 12 seconds left 2 years ago.
yeah, right. I mean, what are you going to do?
And it was 12 seconds too fast.
You know,
13.
but
There was
only
one extra second
Only
mattered.
one of these great
you're right.
quarterbacks can come out of the AFC. Only one.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to move on here, hit our next topic real quick. A quick reminder that at the end of this month, March 28th, we are doing our second UCSS comedy show at Hilarities. All money raised from this event goes to the Boys and Girls Club of Northeast Ohio. Hope to see everyone out there. It is at Pickwick and Frolic, a.k.a. Hilarities on East 4th, March 28th, 9:30 p.m. We hope to see every one of you there. You can buy tickets. Just go to the Hilarities website. It's on our Twitter page. You can find it. We'll hope to see you there on March 28th. We talked Miles earlier. The part of the Miles extension we didn't talk about is how that impacts some of the other players across football who are also looking for big-time deals, whether it be Jamar Chase in Cincinnati, Trey Hendrickson, Micah Parsons, T.J. Watt. The list goes on and on. Bull, we'll start with you on this one. How do you think Miles' extension and resetting the market for the highest-paid non-quarterback in football impacts some of those other players across the league looking for similar deals to Myles Garrett?
I mean, it affects all of them. Jamar Chase is going to want to get more than Myles Garrett. Somebody will pay it to him. I don't know if the Bengals are going to do it. They should, of course. I don't know if they will. I don't know what their plan is going to be. They've been so stupid. They should have signed Jamar Chase last year, and they should have signed T. Higgins 2 years ago.
Price is only going to go up.
Right. I mean, so, I don't know. I think they're going to trade Trey Hendrickson, and I can live with that as long as they sign Chase and Higgins. But I don't know that they're going to do that for sure. They'll sign one of them for sure, or most likely. I don't know if they're going to sign them both. But Jamar Chase just saw Myles Garrett get 40, and he's going to say, well, I'm more impactful on winning than Myles Garrett. Whether it's true or not, it's up for debate, but that's what he's going to think. And he's and the Bengals, their GM just said at the combine, we're going to make him the highest paid non-quarterback. You literally just said it. So now you can't say, well, we didn't know Myles Garrett was going to. He's going to want $41 million a year.
And he's worth it.
And I don't blame him.
You said, I don't know if that's true or not. Well, I'll ask you this.
Yeah.
You're building a team, regardless of the talent you have at every other position.
Yeah.
Myles Garrett is available, and Jamar Chase is available. Who are you taking?
Bingo. Easy question.
Every time,
Yeah,
Jamar Chase. Every
And he is younger
time.
also. That factors in. But yeah.
even if he wasn't, of course
Yeah.
he is younger, 5 years, 6 years younger.
Yeah.
I don't care. Give me the impactful wide receiver because he can make the most important position in football look better.
Yes.
Myles can't make any of our quarterbacks look any better than they do.
No, that's true. And so his money went up and all those other pass rushers. Now, like Trey Hendrickson's not going to get paid more than Myles Garrett. It's not like quarterback. But if Trey Hendrickson was thinking, well, I should get 30, well, now he's thinking I should get 35.
Yeah, you're right.
Because there's only a couple of guys, like Myles Garrett. Yeah, I think Myles Garrett's better than him, but there's not many other pass rushers better than
Maybe
him.
you should start playing Myles at tight end a little bit.
Get your money's worth.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
By the way,
He'd do it.
I think you could do it in the red zone.
Oh, yeah.
I know
You
he
seen him
can
on the
do it.
basketball court.
Hell, I'd put him as the lead running back.
I mean, if Mike Vrabel can catch touchdowns, you think that Myles Garrett can't?
Yeah. I mean, look at the way this guy's built. 4th and goal from the 1, you don't think he's going to find a way to get the ball in or open up a hole so someone can?
Sam Hubbard's last NFL play was a touchdown.
That's wild.
Wow, that's crazy.
And he got hurt on it.
I think Micah Parsons is going to get the most because Micah Parsons feels like he's like right there with him. So he's going to want.
Oh, he's going to want.
He's going to want.
He's
He
gonna
may
want
try to get
Myles'
more.
money.
He's going to want
He's
more.
going to want it.
Yeah.
What's funny to me is, and you don't think like ego's involved, like a big part of this was he was able to say, biggest contract in NFL history for a non-quarterback. That matters, even if it's by $1.
Yes.
I've had agents tell me, you'd be surprised how much that $1 more than A-Rod's contract.
Oh, yeah.
How that's the most important dollar in the whole deal. That's ego.
Yeah. That's the sign of respect, if you
Actually, hold on. This is just in. Stephen A. Smith seen Myles Garrett deal. Now Stephen A. wants 6 years, $125 million, 100 guaranteed.
I don't know if you guys talked
Well, they
about
have
that last
working
Friday,
football now.
but good for Stephen A.
Yeah, fine.
Like,
Hey,
good for Stephen A.
Shout out. Hey, Stephen A. Keep getting it. Maybe one day, I'm like, Stephen A. got 100. I need to get some money of that money, too.
Unlike in professional sports, in this business, high tide doesn't make all ships rise.
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might have to, don't tempt me. I will fall in here. Don't let, they're like, G. Bush is having a seizure. G. Bush is now the richest dude in Cleveland. Falling in grocery stores.
How much did he get, Stephen A?
20 per. Wow. 100 for 5.
That's wild.
Is that more than McAfee?
I don't know.
I don't think so. He has 2 deals. He has his independent deal, which I at the time was over $100 million. So no. Wow. But I think it might have been for more years. But he also has now ESPN, so.
Wow. Well, Stephen A's got his other things too, doesn't he?
He does, but it makes money off of them, but not
Yeah.
like McAfee does.
Yeah.
McAfee broke the mold.
Stephen A is a funny dude.
Hey,
I love Stephen A. I'll tell you this, there's nobody I've ever worked with that works harder.
Gee.
Nobody.
You have to. You have to work hard.
I always used to make fun of him
crazy.
because I'd wake up on a Sunday morning, I'd be on a treadmill, and look up, I'm like, is that Stephen A? It's at 8 a.m. Sports Center on Sunday. I would text him, what are you doing, bro? He'd come in work Monday, he goes, hey, man, I never say no. I've made my reputation off never saying no. So if the Sunday Sports Center producer
Makes a lot of
says,
money,
let's reach
man.
out and see if we can get Stephen A. Smith, the guy is not afraid to
salute.
work 24/7,
I ain't no
and he's
hater.
never met a camera that he doesn't love.
Gee,
Must not have much of a personal life.
Micah Parsons.
Yeah, not like he should.
Right.
Micah Parsons looking for a new contract. Mm-hmm. Will he get more than Myles Garrett just got?
Yes. It always works that way. When somebody get that money, it's almost the price today and the price tomorrow. That money always gonna go up. And
Not for the other positions necessarily.
but for
The great players at
guys,
other positions.
like quarterback, the premium positions, the receivers, the defensive backs, the quarterback, and the defensive ends.
Yep.
Like when one person get the bag and you got numbers comparable to them, you automatically know you're getting more. Even if you're not, like, think about it. Who's the next placebo quarterback coming up? Who's the next quarterback that's up for it?
Jaden Daniels in a couple years. He's going to break the bank.
C.J. Stroud.
Stroud took a step back this year, and Daniels may well next year.
But Stroud will be the next up, and he'll get more than everybody.
I mean, Trevor Lawrence. Well, but
We thought
Trevor Lawrence
was
didn't get
that
more
guy.
than everybody,
No,
though.
but we thought he was that guy,
Yeah.
and then he took a huge step back.
But he still got a big contract, but it wasn't more than the best guys.
Wasn't a record breaker.
Nah.
Yeah.
Like if I believe he is. I believe Jaden Daniels is him. I believe that
He has
with
now been stamped.
everything
He is
in
him.
my
He
heart.
is.
I believe this kid is the next Patrick Mahomes. So if he continues to progress and continues to just play at the level you've been playing at, this guy's going to break
sure.
the record.
Yeah.
He's going to
So
break it.
Michael Parsons don't get more than him. See, Max Crosby had it. Now I'm trying to think of any other defensive ends young guys that might be in that.
Well, Hendrickson.
Well, he's not
He's
young.
not young.
But he's Miles
No,
Garrett's
but-
age. But he won't get more.
But he's coming up, right?
No,
He's
No,
30.
he's
No.
No. I mean, what's his deal?
Currently, he's
Yeah.
got 2 years left.
Yeah, so
Oh,
But
yeah.
not at big money.
no, but if I'm Cincinnati, I'm going to renegotiate his deal because, like,
Well,
you
they're
said,
going to trade him.
the price. Yeah, it sounds like they are.
Yeah.
I mean, he's asked to be traded. Doesn't mean they're going to.
See, it wouldn't shock me if he declined quicker than Miles Garrett does. So I'm okay with them trading him. They
based
just
on
got
body
to sign
type.
Higgins and Chase.
What's up
That's all
with
I care
Higgins?
about.
What y'all doing, Higgins, man?
They franchise
Franchise him
Franchise
this
tag
year.
him.
They'll franchise him next year too.
No, they can a third year.
Oh, was he franchised last year?
Yeah.
Okay, you're right. I thought he.
I mean, you can technically, but the number, I think they
It's
have to pay him like
astronomical.
$45 million.
Yeah, it's
And he-
astronomical.
How old is he?
25, 26, something like that. I mean,
Who?
he's young.
T. Higgins.
T. Higgins.
26.
I think Higgins is gone, and I think they're going to give Chase
Well, he's not
whatever he
gone.
wants.
I mean, they franchised
No,
him.
no, no. I
After
mean,
this
after this
next
year,
year.
I thought they had. I thought this was his first franchise
No,
year.
no, no.
I didn't know he was playing under
No,
last year.
they got it.
If that's the case, then this is his last year in Cincinnati.
Probably, but
he's
they
going to be available, and he'll make a ton of money.
Well, there's no reason they shouldn't sign him. It's inexcusable for them not to sign him. they
no,
got to sign
especially
both
now
of them.
that Hendrickson's off the table.
Well, he's not yet, but
If he is,
that's
then
what
yeah.
I'm saying. They should trade Hendrickson and sign Chase and Higgins.
Yeah.
That's what they should do. Well, whether they do that or not. I
Boy,
don't
you
know.
have that Three Musketeer triumphant.
I'm not messing with that.
Oh my God, they're all young. They're all elite players.
Yeah.
And now you just have to fix the defense.
And they
now
got-
you
yeah.
can spend
And-
all of
but-
your capital in the draft on
exactly,
defense.
exactly. And they got a great young running back too. So
Yeah. They've
spend
got
all your money there and then draft on the defense. That's it.
Yeah.
We'll see what they do.
This is off the beaten path, but I think the most intriguing thing is what the heck is the Browns doing at 33? 2 is whatever. Because there are so many holes. Like, would you be surprised if they went a number of ways? Receiver, left tackle, defensive end, defense. Like, for me, I'm trading the pick.
Well, it all depends on what they do at 2. If they don't take a quarterback at 2, then they're taking one at 33.
I don't think that's a sure thing.
I think it better be. We've talked about this. The likelihood of success increases dramatically based on where you're drafted.
I don't trade out of that spot, man. I think you need to have somebody who can be an impactful player next year, this coming season. I mean, like in starting right away.
Yeah.
You know?
Would you guys be excited about Abdul Carter at 2?
No.
And the prospect
Excited?
of what that
no.
defensive line...
Would I have a problem with it? No. Would I be
Yeah,
excited?
I'd be
But what
excited. I'd be excited about the possibility.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I wouldn't jump on them, but I wouldn't be like, "Oh my gosh, this is going to be great." Nah, like,
I'd have to see the plan. You know, like I got to know how this free agency ends, how the draft ends, who's like what veteran quarterbacks on the roster,
Right.
and
Yeah.
who's the rookie quarterback before I can say I'm excited about
Let's
Abdul
do
Carter.
this. We've got 24 minutes, and these deals aren't flying in.
We got some deals. You want to go over
Go
some?
ahead. What do you got?
Probably they're all like nominal
Twitter's
things.
it's still not working though, right?
It's hit or miss. So I'm on the ESPN website, which has a live tracker to all the deals. So this is everything that we've missed since the start of the hour.
Okay.
Hassan Reddick to the Buccaneers, 1 year, $14 million, $12 million guaranteed. The Chiefs signed Jalen Moore to a 2-year, $30 million contract. He's a 4-year offensive tackle. He's slated to be the Chiefs' new starting
Didn't
left
they just
tackle.
lose an offensive lineman to retirement?
They traded Joe Tooney.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They traded Tooney. That's right.
Chris Godwin, back to the Buccaneers on a 3-year deal. The Bears reached an agreement with Drew Dahlman, the top center on the
Very
market.
exciting,
3
Mike.
years,
This is
You
huge.
better order your playoff tickets, Chicago fans.
3 years, $42 million. Braxton Berrios, a 1-year deal to the Texans.
By the way, Dan Moore's the guy that Myles Garrett's been eating his lunch for years.
No one said Dan Moore.
No, at all.
No one
Oh,
mentioned Dan Moore.
Jalen Moore. Different,
Jalen Moore.
different Moore. But that Dan Moore of the Steelers, that offensive lineman for the Steelers, Dan Moore is supposed to get a huge contract. So I never thought he was any good, but anyway,
We'll
go
find out if he does, but not the guy
Yeah.
that the Chiefs signed. That was Jalen Moore from the 49ers,
Yes.
not Dan Moore from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Listen up, Bull. Evan Brown, 2-year deal back to Arizona. B.J. Hill, a 3-year deal with the Cincinnati Bengals.
That's a re-sign.
3-year, $33 million. And Javon Kinlaw, a 3-year deal worth $45 million, heading to the Washington Commanders.
All those moves are non-needle movers.
Yeah,
Yep.
nothing big, which is what we talked
There's
about.
nothing.
We don't think there will be.
And by the way, it's so funny because a lot of the big free agent moves over the last 5 years, you see the guys get cut 2 years later. Like, and they were moves that people were excited about
We've
a couple
had a
of years
number
ago.
of those.
And then a year or two later, the guy's cut, and you're like, man, whatever. Meanwhile, everybody's going nuts about him on this Monday 2 years ago.
Whenever anyone hits the free agent market from Kansas City, I'm
Yeah.
always like, hands off. If Andy says he's done, he's done.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's do this real quick. Quick exercise. What would make you excited on the day after the draft? I'll give you mine. Abdul at 2. You've automatically beefed up the defensive front, and you've finally given Myles a legitimate, at least a guy who's on pace to be a legitimate help on the defensive line. You get one of the following quarterbacks: Joe Flacco or Kirk Cousins. And the Cousins thing won't be a trade. They'll release him. It would be a signed deal. They somehow convince Joey Bosa to come to Cleveland on a deal that wouldn't cost a ton. Mm-hmm. You get Will Howard at number 33, and you do one of the following things. You either re-sign Nick Chubb, or you go after one of these young stalwarts the draft is dripping with talent at running back. Now, I don't know that there will still be a great one in the 3rd round, but there likely will be, because the NFL, the pendulum still hasn't swung back to the the running back position is a critical position. It's getting closer. The running backs that moved last year from team to team had great success. Mixon, Saquon Barkley. A lot of these guys, think we're getting a retread. They're not. Mixon had a great year. Barkley led the Eagles to the Super Bowl. That's the canvas of things that would make me excited. And then, obviously, your 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th picks, all of those, you're filling in with guys that end up being great players instead of the bums that we've taken in those rounds the last couple of years. What makes you happy after draft?
Man, I got a couple scenarios. First and foremost, go get me a veteran quarterback. I would probably either sign Flacco right now. After I sign him, first thing I do, go back and sign Nick Chubb. Then at number 2, I'm taking one of the quarterbacks. Either this is Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. I'm going to take one of them. And then I'm at pick number, 33?
Yeah.
I'm still looking around. I'm like, I'm going to get into the 1st round, and I'm going to draft one of them running backs. I don't even, if Ashley Genty is there past 17, I am packaging, taking up, going to get him. In the 3rd or 4th round, I am then going back to get another quarterback in this draft, whether it's Curtis Rourke or whoever you like. Jackson Dart won't be there. Milroe won't be there. Or Will Howard probably won't be there. But I'm gonna go get me another quarterback and go ahead and do that as well.
Right.
And then from that standpoint, I got my quarterback, the bridge guy that can work with something. I got a stud back. I got Nick Chubb back. We gonna run this football. And I got my quarterback of the future just sitting on the bench. I'm ready to go.
I mean, you want the whole breakdown like that? I mean,
I just gave
We got
three
time.
tops.
I
could have said in the 3rd round I need an
those.
offensive lineman. The big pieces here. What do you want them to do?
He like, that's a lot, bro.
I want Cam Ward, my first pick.
Cam's number 1 for you.
At pick 33. And by the way, I'm cool with them trading up to 1 to get him, because that's how much I want him. That I'm cool with them giving up a mid-round pick to end up with him. At 33, I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, they could take a tackle there.
Yeah.
They could take a guard there. I mean,
they need it.
They need to
They're long
protect
in the
whoever
tooth up
this
front.
quarterback is going to be. They could take a receiver at 33, a running back there. At the end of this draft, all I know is we better have the quarterback of our future on the roster. We better have a new running back to be excited about, a receiver to be excited about.
Yep. And do you want a veteran on the squad too? You don't want Cam to start day one.
No, I'd prefer to have a Flacco or a Gardner Minshew. But that happens.
You want Cam to start week one because he kills it.
I would take Gardner. I would take Gardner Minshew over Flacco. I think he has more upside. I think you can actually.
Younger.
Don't get me wrong. I think if Gardner Minshew was around a good enough team,
he could have a Darnold type of year, maybe.
He could go
potentially.
He could go to the playoffs on accident.
Okay.
On accident.
I think you're high as a you-know-what if you think Gardner Minshew is taking the Browns to the playoffs.
Let's
not get nuts.
I say if you had, not the
get
Browns.
nuts.
I said if you had enough around him.
Yeah, and the other thing too is I don't know that anybody's expecting you're adding 7 wins if you go to the playoffs.
I'm not talking playoffs.
That's not the question.
Even G. Bush ain't talking playoffs.
I'm talking about give me a 7-10. Give me an 8-9. Give me a lot of progress and some blocks to build on.
Give me a fun
I'm not saying, how do you make the playoffs?
6 wins.
To me, the only thing that would have me excited after the draft is if they draft Cam Ward and they trade up to 1 to get him. Because if they trade up to 1 to get him, that means they are all in. They fully believe. And what they'd have to give up from go to 2 to 1 is minimal. I don't care about a mid-round draft pick. You got 10, 11 picks, whatever the hell they have. That's fine. They've had 1 million picks before. Get the quarterback.
How nonchalant he is.
If you believe,
I just like watching this dude flick the football.
But it comes off his hands.
He be nonchalant. He be looking around. He is patented.
He flicks it like a right-handed
Michael Vick.
He's playing.
Remember how Michael Vick the ball?
like a right-handed
70
Vick.
yards.
He has this step back throw that he does.
Right here, that one.
Step back
off his back foot.
That one right there.
Look at that whoop. That across the body throw.
It was that first one he played against Iowa State.
Every guy that's
back.
like a video a watch the tape guru that I've heard from, led by Greg Cosell, says this guy's the best, and it's not close between him and the rest.
You
of the
don't
draft.
include Kurt Warner in that position.
I haven't heard from Kurt Warner.
He said Shador, right?
No, he said Will Howard.
That's right. He said Howard.
He said it wasn't even close.
Yeah.
Jay, I know you and Sean King are tight, and next week we're going to do our quarterback breakdown segment with Sean King.
Yep.
We may have to strap you into an IV for his Will Howard breakdown.
No, I already heard it. We've talked about it on the show.
Well,
he does not like Will Howard.
No.
But here's the thing with Sean, and this opinion, if you have 1,000 topics, you're not going to see eye to eye with every single one.
Yeah.
Sean has been wrong about some quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. I want to talk about him on this show because I love Sean King, and I think Sean is as good at his job as anyone ESPN currently has.
He's had some
That's
wins
how
and
much I think about
losses
Sean
for
King.
sure.
However, Sean has missed on some quarterbacks. Sean has said this guy is going to be a decade-plus superstar. That player is out of the league.
And
he has also said this guy is going to be awful, and that person became a Pro Bowler.
What is Kurt Warner? Do we know Kurt Warner's track record of picking quarterbacks?
No, I don't. But to answer, my opinion of Kurt, he stays in his lane. He talks about quarterbacks, and he breaks down every single game of all of the top players. So what he said was, I'll preface it this way. He said he watched the last 5 games of all of the quarterbacks, and he said there was no one that impressed me more than Will Howard, and it wasn't even close.
Hey, Jimmy G's off the board, headed back to the Rams on a 1-year deal.
Smart move for the Rams.
What were you going to say?
Kurt Warner's son also played with Will Howard at Kansas State.
So could taint his.
So could be biased. Also, could be some more intel about how the guy is with the players in the locker room.
He said that I'm just judging this off the last 5 games. He made every kind of throw I need my quarterback in the NFL to make. The outside the numbers throw, the on the run throw, this drop back and the scramble throw. He said every single throw he made off platform. Everything.
Now it's tough because Will Howard played on one of the greatest teams ever assembled.
That's right.
It's hard. You'd be like, can you do that against the Baltimore Ravens with Jerry Jeudy and Jamari Thrash?
But look at the ball he threw to win the national championship game. Obviously, he threw it to an all-world receiver. He threw it to a receiver who, as a freshman, is NFL ready right now and would be a difference maker on any team.
I just think,
and he made a perfect throw.
I just think in the end, the quarterback is the only thing that gets you excited. So whether that ends up being Cam Ward at 1 or Will Howard at 33 or whatever, the unknown of the rookie quarterback, especially one drafted high, and I would say 33 is still high. Obviously, first-round quarterbacks hit more often, but the next group is the high second-round pick. There's been a number of high second-round picks.
Is there any world where say the Browns are like, yeah, we weren't sold on a lot of the quarterbacks. Is there any part of the world where they draft either Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter and have them at 2, and then they say, whoa, we have an opportunity to go back and get Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders, and then they trade up to go get them? Is there any scenario?
How would they do that?
Any scenario
they've got a
in
lot
which
of
they
draft
pass on
capital.
a
You'd never pass on the quarterback in that scenario.
No, if you think he's good enough to take it 7,
Yeah, right.
take him at 2.
Yeah, right.
You guys are both pretty much in the Cam Ward camp.
yeah.
Of
Yeah.
the 2, I'm with you. So if you had to pick, I'm taking Cam Ward.
Yeah.
You said either Cam or Shedeur, but what's your preference?
I think Cam Ward is better than Shedeur
Yeah,
Sanders.
so that would be your preference.
Yeah, I would take him. I just think he has a little more lively arm, but I think Shedeur can be successful in the right system.
Guys, in my mind, if I'm the Browns, the only way Cam Ward's not a Cleveland Brown is if he's a Tennessee Titan. Period.
Yeah, and there is a scenario, by the way, where Bernie told me this over a month ago. Tennessee loves Cam Ward. And you know how Bernie,
Well, it's not the
when
love.
he uses the love word, he goes, they love him.
So you're saying that's a smokescreen for Abdul? I've been hearing Abdul Carter for the last
I'm
month.
actually not. I think in this instance, there's no reason to throw smoke screens if
Yeah.
you know your guy.
Right. Yeah.
We've seen deals before where the contract has already been agreed upon at draft day.
But only with a quarterback.
Only with a quarterback.
Yeah.
Right. So
Right.
I'm just basing this off of Bernie's got inroads with Cam in that camp. I'm thinking that I am buying what Bernie's selling, that Tennessee does love him.
Yeah.
That tells me they're not interested in trading for a second round pick and moving down one. They're not. If they're convinced that he is their guy, they're taking him. They're not trading him. So in that world, then I think the big question that the Browns need to ask is there a big enough drop off between Cam and Shedeur? And also part 2 of that question is there a huge difference between Cam and Will Howard or Dart or any of these other guys? And if there isn't, then you sit tight and you go to 33.
If the Browns don't draft a quarterback at 2 or 1, then the thing that would get me most excited, if I had to say what would get me most excited to draft, not including a quarterback, would be to take Travis Hunter at 2.
Yeah, because he's an exciting player.
And
Yeah.
the sky's the limit. Like, what
Yeah,
he could be.
and who knows? Like, the guy could be special and play a lot more both ways than we've ever seen before.
Right, and what if we'll throw a scenario that, would take a while to get there, but like, what if they draft Travis Hunter? He's this next great wide receiver, plus he can play some DB, and then the following year, and then because you still don't have a quarterback, you suck again next year, you have a high pick, and then next year you fall in love with the right quarterback, and then you get him, and now you have Travis Hunter. He's already had a year in the league. You just re-signed Jerry Jeudy. You got all this great talent. You still got Njoku. You found a running back in the 2nd or 3rd round.
Yeah,
There you go. And it takes 2 years to get there,
Right.
but if we got there, we'd all be excited
And you
about
could
it.
also, at that point in time, when you do have the quarterback in place, you can pick and choose when you want to use Travis Hunter, how you want to
That's right. Yeah.
deploy
That's right.
him.
We've got a lot
on
of super
offense.
chats today, as you'd expect, on a Monday. And
Yeah.
So we
Yeah,
got
we got I think it's the most we've had in a while. I think we have 16 at the moment, so we're gonna fly through some of these.